Doom. Hi, hey, hey, hi, hey, hey, hi, hey, hey, hi, hi, hey, hey, hi, hey, hey. Ah! Wow. Shama. Holy smokes, man. Alex Poatan Pereira just absolutely destroyed and wrecked Magomed Ankalaev in round number 1, and I could not have been more wrong, man. I thought Magomed Ankalaev had the answers to beating Alex Poatan Pereira. He beat him in the first fight. I was like, look, man, we saw that Ankalaev can hurt him. I thought that the hand speed of Ankalaev, the technicalities, I figured that he had Alex Poatan's number. That's what I thought. And I was dead wrong. And hey, man, every time I make these videos saying so-and-so's going to dominate, so-and-so's going to make it look easy, I pretty much get it wrong every single damn time. The only two that I've gotten right was Ilya beating Charles and Khamzat beating DDP. So the people that say every time I make that video and it's wrong, you're wrong, man. Sometimes I get it right, dog. But listen, man, we got a lot to discuss in this video. This is probably going to be a long-ass video because you guys know that I've said this numerous times, man. I am a fan of both of these guys. This is why I wanted the fight to happen when it happened the first time. It's why I wanted the rematch. It is best on best in the light heavyweight division. And what Alex Poatan Pereira did last night, I didn't recognize that guy. So we're going to discuss, we're going to talk a little bit about it, and we got a lot of other things to discuss because from top to bottom, my voice just cracked, from top to bottom, I'm tired, man. I was up doing the stream. I don't know how people do these watch-alongs, dog. People are like, your reaction. I'm like, I'm tired, dog. It's late, man. I'm not a late-night guy. I'm a go-to-bed early, wake-up early kind of guy, man. So I struggle to get through those watch-alongs. That's why I don't really do them. But at the end of the day, that was unbelievable from Poatan, man. So we got to talk about that. And by the way, this was one of the best cards of the entire year. This card was absolutely stacked on paper, and we don't always see those kinds of cards deliver. This one absolutely delivered, man. I have not enjoyed an overall UFC card quite like this one this year. Maybe it's recency bias because I'm coming off of the, UFC 320 vibes and all that kind of stuff. This was a spectacular event, man. We got Jiri Prochazka going out there, just hitting the Jiri mode and getting a stoppage in the third round. We got a lot to discuss, man, but we got to hop right in to the main event of between Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Poatan Pereira. Just say Alex's name normal, bro. How many people are going to comment that? His name is Alex Pereira, dog. I'm sorry that I'm pronouncing his name the right way. I don't understand why people are complaining about that. So, Alex Pereira. All right, listen. I was dead wrong about this fight. I thought that Magomed Ankalaev, he displayed in the first fight, beautiful fight IQ, excellent tactics, controlling the lead hand of Alex Pereira. And listen, I did say, man, I'm going to be that guy. I did say don't count him out, though, didn't I? So do I get some sort of credit for that? I said don't count him out, and I told you this guy is flawless in rematches, man, because we all know that Izzy one doesn't count. It was a fluke. I've said that numerous times, and it's 3-1. That ain't a rematch. Listen, Alex Pereira, what he did last night, it was beyond impressive because he's 38 years of age, I believe. I think he's 38, right? He's 38. He loses to a guy that a lot of people feel like has cracked the code. It feels like Alexis met his match. There were all these things of, I'm not 100%, I'm this, I'm that. And to me, it's like we hear fighters say that all the time. And then they come back into the rematches and then they lose even worse. Clearly, Poatan is different, man. We knew he was different, but he's different. To go out there and do that in the very first round to a guy that, like I've said numerous times, I thought is one of the best light heavyweights we've ever seen. I think Alex Pereira is a top 5 fighter of all time. Whoa, that's crazy, man. How are you going to pick Ankalaev and say this and that? Because I told you, I keep the same energy, man. I thought that highly of Magomed Ankalaev that if Poatan could go out there and do something like that, I mean, look at his resume. He beat Jan Blachowicz. He knocked out Jamal Hill, beat Jiri Prochazka twice. And by the way, Jiri's beating everybody. Knocks out Magomed Ankalaev. Beats Khalil Rountree. This guy is a special talent, man. He beat Sean Strickland, beat Israel Adesanya. I mean, this guy's spectacular, man. At 38 years of age to turn back the dials. And this is what I really want to hit on here. This wasn't UFC Poatan that showed up, man. Oh, what do you mean? This was Alex Pereira from way back in the day in kickboxing when he had that. It was like he was kind of bald, but he had that light little kind of stubble going on. He was that skinny, long-framed 185er where people weren't necessarily going, how does he make this weight class? He just kind of looked like a tall, leaned-out 185er. That is how he fought in kickboxing. He would move forward, had almost no respect for anybody, would throw a crazy hard 1-2 at the beginning of the fight, put you on your heels right away, and get after your ass. And that is exactly what he did in this fight. It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. That guy that showed up in that octagon last night against Ankalaev beats any light heavyweight that we have ever seen. He beats John Jones, the guy that showed up last night. It was spectacular, man. It was absolutely spectacular, and it was terrifying because that's the Poatan that I used to see back in the day in kickboxing. Even click on his kickboxing highlights or watch his old fights. When he comes out and he has like no respect for these guys, he's like, I'm way better. I'm way more powerful. Just comes out, throws a 1-2, gets in your face, pressures the hell out of you, and puts you away. We've seen him do some impressive things in the UFC. This was the most impressive one because Ankalaev is a world-class fighter, man. He is elite. He is well-rounded. He is a very high-level striker. He has a solid ground game. None of it mattered last night, man. That guy that showed up in the octagon in terms of Alex Pereira, that guy wasn't losing to anybody last night, man, in this weight class. That was absolutely spectacular. He steamrolled through Ankalaev and all of the things, like I said. We hear fighters, and when they lose a fight, they're like, I was injured, I had this, I had that, and it feels like it's just stuff, right? And then they get in there, and we're like, well, you lost, right? Because normally a lot of the time it kind of tends to go that way. It seems like a lot of that stuff must have been true, man, because this guy looked like a totally different fighter here in the rematch. And the lack of respect that he had for Ankalaev was crazy. He went right after him, acted like Magomed Ankalaev was some sort of amateur from the regional scene that was looking for a shot in the pros. He just marched him down with zero respect, man. That is how confident Poatan was in himself coming into this fight, man. He looked noticeably in better shape to me, right? I was watching his vlogs throughout fight week, and it seemed like the weight cut was probably the smoothest of his career. He didn't even look that sucked out. This guy was dialed in, man. He was pissed off to come back and win his title, right? He was tired of hearing everybody say, listen, this Ankalaev guy has my number. And you guys know I think very highly of Magomed Ankalaev. Like I said, I think he's one of the most elite guys that we've seen in this weight class. And for Poatan to go out there and do that, top 5 all time, in my opinion. Top 5 all time. You could say that his resume at light heavyweight, yeah, he doesn't have, obviously, no one's arguing the resume because of the amount of wins that Jones has, but the quality of opponents that Poatan has knocked out, that guy that showed up last night beats any light heavyweight we've ever seen. I think so. I really think so. And I know he said he wants to fight John Jones at the White House. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end here, man. But I got to give Alexis his props, man. That was not a UFC version of Poatan that we saw last night. That was a guy that went way back into the vintage days in kickboxing where he just marched people down, knew he hit harder, knew he was the better striker, knew he was the better fighter, and went out there and put Ankalaev on his heels right away. Ankalaev had no answers. I think Magomed was like just caught so off guard by the aggressive forward pressure, the way that Alex was sliding out of range. Ankalaev was trying to return fire, and Poatan was sliding just out of the way, and I'm like, that ain't good. That ain't good at all, man, because Alex was confident. He was dialed in. He had the range. He had the timing. It was a picture-perfect performance, man. It was a shutout. It was a terrifying stoppage because the way that you go after somebody like that, you're pissed off. You clearly are like, I'm way better than this guy. And that is what we saw from Poatan last night. I can't say enough good things, but I got the pick wrong. Right now, I was dead wrong. I thought that Ankalaev was going to go out there, right? I felt like when they got into those exchanges that would favor Ankalaev to a degree, right? Outside of staying safe from a left hook, right? We always know that if the left hook lands, it could put anybody out. But it was the right hand that kind of caught him, I think, like right back here, right above the ear, back of the, like side of the head, whatever. It was nasty, man. The kicks were nasty. I think he said he damaged his foot or broke his foot or something, did Pereira. Right, when it went out there, was crushing the legs with the kicks. Ankalaev was switching stances. And whenever you switch stances, yeah, your offense can be good. But if you go into that stance that you're not as, isn't your natural stance, you're a little bit more not as good on the defensive side. And he just ate a nasty right hand from Poatan, man. And we know if you get hit clean by Pereira, he can put anybody out. And I've always said that regardless of weight class. Regardless of weight class, man. That was one of the most terrifying and spectacular performances I've seen in the history of MMA because I think that highly of Magomed Ankalaev, man. I still think he's an elite fighter for sure. But Pereira just showed, man, how good he is. How good he is. To come back out here after you lose the first fight, you have all these people like me up there saying, listen, man, Pereira's really good. But at the end of the day, like Ankalaev, this guy's elite, man. He's faster. You're getting older, Alex. How is all that going to play out? And He was faster. He was more powerful. He was sharper. He was the better fighter and the better striker in this matchup. And Ankalaev tried to shoot for that, takedown when he was hurt. And Pereira just, postured up, was landing some nasty ground and pound. And Pereira's got some underrated ground and pound, man. Remember when he knocked down Jamal Hill and was able to land some of those nasty hammer fists? I mean, that was a ferocious version of Pereira last night, man. Absolutely ferocious. It was terrifying, and it was beyond impressive. He knew exactly what he was going to do. And I think wasn't it Glover Teixeira that was like, you're gonna be able to see in the very first round kind of the difference in this fight. And boy, was he right. Boy, was he right, man. I'm like shocked. I'm never shocked if Poatan gets a KO. We all know that he has the touch of death and can put anybody away. But to go out there and bulldoze through Ankalaev, made Ankalaev look like he's not a professional fighter, dog. That speaks volumes for Poatan Pereira. And I said that. If Alex can get through Magomed, who I think is the toughest fight for him in this weight class, I've always thought that. And the only times that I've picked against Alex throughout his entire career in the UFC was against Ankalaev. Picked him in every other fight. And I was right the one time, wrong this time. Made me pay, man. Made me pay. And shout out to Poatan Pereira, Shama, man, because there's no question that he's an absolute superstar. And I said that in one of the videos, right? I was at UFC 319. I was at the ceremonial weigh-ins. He pulled up. Man, that arena went nuts when he walked in the building. So his star power is real. The fact that he got the KO, the UFC's posting it all over social media and YouTube and those kinds of things. Yeah, the champ is back, man. The champ is back. I feel for Magomed Ankalaev a little bit, right? Because, you go out there, you go through a whole camp, and you go out there and you just get ran over, man. You just get ran over, and it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing, man. He got hit with a big shot. Like, people were like, he curled up into a ball. I'm like, dude, you get hit clean by Poatan, and it's a problem for anybody. It's a problem. It's a problem. He absolutely destroyed Ankalaev, man. I'm like shocked at what I saw, right? I figured if Pereira would win, it would be like, okay, we got this kind of slow back and forth first round. Both guys are kind of trying to figure each other out. Ankalaev won the last fight. Pereira's being aggressive, investing in the kicks, trying to hinder the movement. Then he's going to start to open up. That ain't what happened. Ankalaev was on the back foot, right, which is what he did in the first fight, right? He was on the back foot, kind of scooting around, trying to get the feel for the fight, because that's how Magomed is. That's how these super tactical fighters are. They don't like to, bum rush you like a Chimaev or like McGregor back in the day, right? They get right in your face, and Chimaev tries to overwhelm you with grappling. McGregor would get in your face, throw like a spinning heel kick or something, put you on alert right away to where you're like, whoa, man, this guy's like right in my face. That is what Poatan did. Overwhelmed him, got right in his face, didn't even give him time to think, because that's what favors Ankalaev. Being cerebral, being able to kind of pick and poke at you, being able to really mix things together. Alex didn't even give him a chance, man. Didn't even give him a chance, had zero respect for him. How crazy is that? To go out there and lose to somebody. Your first loss in the weight class. Right outside of a fluke KO to Izzy. Basically his only loss, really, in the UFC was the Ankalaev. And to go out there in the rematch and have that kind of confidence speaks to the preparation, speaks to how locked in he was, right? We heard about the not traveling around and all these different things. And then he goes out there and completely destroys Magomed Ankalaev, man. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. That is the most terrifying version of Poatan that we have seen. And imagine being 38 years old and somehow coming out looking sharper, looking faster, and being that ferocious. That is spectacular, man. Absolutely spectacular. Shout out to Alex Poatan Pereira. I'm a fan of both of these guys. I've always said that. I just felt like Ankalaev had the style to be able to beat him with the sharp strikes down the middle, the threat of the takedown. He's very good on the feet as well. But in this fight, it didn't even matter because of the pressure that Pereira put on him, the confidence, and just the aura that he had when the fight started. Dude came out, guns blazing through a hard 1-2. And Ankalaev was probably, whoa. Backed him up to the fence, put crazy amounts of pressure on him, crazy amounts of pressure to where I'm like, I feel like Pereira was like, look, man, I don't think that this guy's going to be able to knock me out. As sharp of a striker as he is, he's going to have to do that because I'm going out on my shield. It's like Pereira made that decision. I'm going after this guy. We're not getting into this thinking man's back and forth chess match this time. I'm getting in your face. What are you going to do about it, Ank? And Ankalaev had zero answers. He got ran over, man. There's no other way to put it. He got absolutely ran over. And there's people out there that are going to cope about Ankalaev losing and this and that. Alex Pereira completely destroyed him. He had the answers. He knew exactly what he was going to do, put him on the back foot, and absolutely melted him, man. Beyond impressed with Poatan Pereira. Shout out to him, man, for going out there. Anytime a fighter, I don't care who they are, they lose the first fight, and they come back, and they don't just win by a decision, oh, another close fight, or what. Go out there and act like you didn't lose the first one and steamroll through the guy. Beyond impressive, man. I think that was the fastest finish of Pereira's career since being in the UFC. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And even if you did think he was going to win by KO, I don't know that you expected him to steamroll him like that, did you? Maybe you did, but I don't know. I didn't think that's how it would go. I figured we'd see some patience. The leg kicks would add up. Ankalaev's movements hindered, and then Pereira sets up a shot. And the right hand, right? I feel like we kind of slept on the right hand a little bit, right? Because Pereira, he really is kind of dominant upon the lead hand. The jab, and then sets up the hook. Where that right hand, I mean, that thing was a missile, dude. Pereira was a seek and destroy missile in there. That's what he was, man. And if you give this guy a little bit of an edge, you give him a little bit of motivation, like I felt like he needed, like some bad blood coming in here to Ankalaev. Remember how he didn't like Adesanya talking all that stuff? Right? Oh, he's going to be, in a bar one day being like, I beat that guy one time. I beat that guy. Remember? If you motivate Poatan and piss him off, man, this is what he's capable of. So, like I said, shout out to Alex Poatan Pereira. I know he wants to fight John Jones or, whatever. He wants a super fight. And I know Chimaev was like, congrats, Poatan. Let's handle our business. I think the UFC, is as crazy as that would be, right? I feel like we could all say that would be nuts, dude. Khamzat versus Pereira, right? It's as simple as if Khamzat can't get him down, he's getting knocked out. Or if Khamzat can get him down, then he might be able to just dominate Pereira and get him out of there, right? It's one of those fights. But at the end of the day, that would be a huge build-up, one of the biggest fights of all time. I don't think we're going to get it, though. I think the UFC wants to build up Chimaev in the middleweight division. Poatan sounds like he wants to go to heavyweight, wants the Jones fight. If Tom Aspinall runs through Cyril Gane, I would love to see Poatan versus Tom Aspinall. I would. I absolutely would. Now, it does make me nervous moving up to heavyweight because we know how big Tom Aspinall is and this and that. But F John Jones, man. That guy sat around and was playing games with the heavyweight division, stalling it out and all this kind of stuff, playing the herky-jerky game with the UFC. Screw him over. Give Poatan and Aspinall the big fight, man, at the White House. Main event. Who's complaining about that? I'm not. That's a great fight, man. Absolutely a great fight. Shout out to Alex Poatan Pereira, man, going out there, putting him on his heels, putting him away. Ankalaev will be back, man. He'll be back, right? That was basically, I know he lost to Paul Craig in the final seconds of the fight, but that was basically his first real loss, man. And it was bad, getting knocked out in the first round, but he'll be back. He's a very skilled fighter. Magomed Ankalaev's a guy I've always been high on. Very well-rounded, sharp striking. He looked a lot slower than Pereira tonight, man, and that was the difference to me as well. Look, fight one, Ankalaev looked faster to me. Pereira looked fast in spots, but it really looked like Ankalaev was the more technical guy. Pereira was kind of, all over the place, out of position. Defense was lacking. Not tonight. His distance was on point. He was winning the lead hand battle this time, which I mentioned. He got punked in the first fight. Did not in this one. Pereira wrote the wrong and passed the test with flying colors. He did. He did, and in the rematch, when you get brutally finished like that, man, we don't need a trilogy, right? I feel like that. Maybe down the line, if Ankalaev can, rattle off, another win, go out there, start someone like, an Olberg or a Jiri, whoever he gets matched up with next. Maybe that people get interested, but the problem is when you win the first time and you go out and you get brutally finished in the first round, I just don't know if it calls for a trilogy, man. I'm just being honest. So based off of what the direction the UFC is going to go, I don't think they're going to go for a trilogy. And we kind of knew that. If Poatan won, they're not going to give Ankalaev a rematch. They're just not. So Pereira's got his aura back. Kind of still had it a little bit. It just was dampened a little bit. He's back, man. And one of the biggest stars in the sport, we already knew that. And to get his belt back now, it opens the door for numerous opportunities. I think if Aspinall goes out there and beats Gane, and hey, even if Gane wins, can you imagine a striking battle between Cyril Gane and Alex Pereira? I think that's more favorable than the Aspinall fight because Gane's more of like a technician. That'd be a fun fight. Kickboxer on kickboxer pretty much. But right, I feel like Aspinall is going to win. That'd be crazy, man. Give Aspinall that fight. Give Pereira that fight if that's what he wants, man. I know he wants John Jones, but I get it. Legacy, big names, but Jones has been wildly inactive, man. And I think him and Pereira are the same age, which is crazy, but Alex is way more active. So I'd like to see Poatan versus Tom Aspinall at the White House. Main event. It's a big fight, man. And then if he can go up and win a third belt, I already basically have him in my top 5 of all time. So that people are going to say, whoa, the glaze, it's crazy, the this, that. That's how high I thought of Ankalaev, man. I keep the energy. I said if he could go out there and beat him, I mean, how crazy would that be? Wonders for his legacy. Getting through this guy who it feels like had the answer for him. Ankalaev had no answers last night, man. And his coach was like, he's an old kickboxer, is Pereira, and this and that. And I just feel like they woke up the beast, man. And sometimes you just need, when you're a guy that's like looking for motivation, looking for things to really motivate you and go out there and go above and beyond, that's what we saw last night, man. Crushing him with the calf kicks, put heavy pressure on him. The distance management was on point, and he crushed him with a right hand, followed it up with some brutal ground and pound. Unbelievable performance by Pereira. Sensational, man. Absolutely sensational, man. I just got to give the guy his credit. Like I said, I was dead wrong. I thought Ankalaev had the answers for him. And to go out there and do that in the rematch, man, the door is open for possibilities. I want to see him go for a third belt. Book it. Aspinall, winner of Aspinall gone. Give him Alex Pereira, give him a chance to go win a heavyweight title, man. But Ankalaev, what happens next, man? Maybe fights Jiri. Whoever they give, the title, we'll talk about that a little bit. Jiri or, if Alberg's going to fight for the title, maybe they do Jiri versus Ankalaev. I feel like that's a fresh matchup. That'd be fun. Maybe they do Magomed versus the winner of Azamat Mirzakhanov and Rakic. I don't know what they do. I know he already fought Rakic. So, I don't know. Magomed's kind of in a tricky situation now that he took this L here. So, but I think he'll be back, man. Super elite fighter. Poatan's an elite fighter as well. I thought Ankalaev had the answers. He didn't have any, man. He got mowed over by Poatan. Unbelievable performance by Alex Pereira. Shama. Got to give him props, man. All right. Co-main event. We have Merab Dvalishvili versus Cory Sandhagen. As I said, F Merab, man. I picked Merab to win this fight by decision, and that's what we saw. A dominant decision. I think that Cory did get around. I think it was, the first round that he won? I'd have to go back and watch it to remember what round I think it was the first round. But then I think it was the second round. There was a 10-8. Merab absolutely hurt him badly on the feet, which, look, I was like, Merab saying he's going to KO Cory? Like, I can't doubt anything Merab really says at this point because he says he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and he's basically doing everything. And then he goes out there and he stings Cory Sandhagen bad. And the scariest thing about Merab, man, is he is leveling up every single time that we see him fight. That is crazy. That is crazy to be a champion. To be a guy that's not 25 years old, right? Merab's in his, mid-30s? And he continues to level up every single fight. That's very impressive. It speaks to how hard this guy works, right? I'm not the biggest fan of Merab. I don't know. It doesn't click for me. But I always say this about Merab. You got to respect his skill set. You got to respect his grit. You got to respect his tenacity. You have to respect everything that he brings to the table because I always say this guy's an alien, man. He's just different. We don't see anybody fight like Merab Dvalishvili, really, right? The only thing that I kind of think of is a guy like Khabib who would just pressure the hell out of you, maul you, take you down over and over and over again, and was just relentless. But with Merab, it's not even that he has the control of a Khabib. It's like he shoots, gets on the single. You defend, gets to the double, switches to the back. His chain wrestling is so good, but he doesn't have the best control. But, it doesn't even matter. Literally, Merab Dvalishvili is the opposite of every single fighter that we've ever seen. Most fighters, it's like they start strong, and then as the fight goes out, the fight tends to play out, you start to go like this. That's normal for a human. But with Merab, it's like he starts here, and then he goes up. It's like, how in the world do you expend the same amount of energy as everybody else, if not more, and your energy bar goes up? It doesn't go down. That's not normal. That's an alien, man. So this is what I expected was total domination by Merab, which I guess I got that right? Somebody did get dominated, and it was Cory Sandhagen. Right, Cory's a super skilled fighter, man. He is, but at the end of the day, what does he have that can threaten Merab, right? Maybe, we could land a flying knee. That's what it was going to take, was basically a well-timed fluke of a KO to get the job done, and it wasn't going to happen. Domination by Merab. People were saying it was boring. It was not boring at all. It was not boring at all, right? And I'm not really a Merab fan, man. Like I said, I respect the hell out of him and his skills. He's an absolute savage. But to say it was boring is ridiculous. That was an entertaining performance, man. Ragdolling Cory around, damn near knocked him out in the second round. What more do you want from him? Ragdolled him around, put the pressure on him, suffocated Cory Sandhagen with pressure, was outstriking Cory Sandhagen, dog. That's impressive, man. And to almost KO Cory like that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I feel like we all knew that this was going to happen, right? The domination here. Now we're in the position of what the hell do we do at bantamweight for Merab? The only interesting fight is Umar. That's it. Right? And Umar's fighting Mario Bautista at the next pay-per-view, right? So maybe the winner of that gets a title shot against Merab. I don't want to see Jan versus Merab again. Yes, Jan deserves a title shot, but I don't want to see him get 50-45 or possibly even finished. I don't want to see it. Merab's a nightmare matchup for him. Merab's basically a nightmare matchup for everybody. The only guy that has a chance against him in the bantamweight division is Umar. And I got to be honest, man. You guys know I'm an Umar fan. I'm starting to really doubt if he could beat Merab, though, man. I don't think, I'm starting to kind of come to the realization that at bantamweight, this guy beats everybody, honestly. His style is just like impossible to deal with. And the fact that his striking is getting better and he has power, it's a problem. I know Umar was landing good shots on the feet, but it's just the thing of the gas tank. Even if they're neck and neck, we get into rounds 4 and 5, and Umar was right there, but at the end of the day, and I know he hurt his hand, and Merab, I think, wasn't 100% coming into that fight either, and you still saw how close that fight was, which is why I'd like to see it ran back, because to me, that's the only fight that's even remotely competitive at bantamweight. And I have a bad feeling that I don't know if it would be competitive the next time, because look how good Merab is, man. Just be real. This guy's a different animal, man. He's a different kind of animal, right? It just kind of is odd to me how he calls out these guys like Jan, the fan favorites who he knows are strikers, and he has a super, advantage there. It's like, if I'm Merab, I'd be like, look, the guy that a lot of people feel like could beat me is Umar in a rematch. Let me go out there and shut everybody up. That's just kind of how I'm thinking of it. I mean, I think it's a close fight again with Umar, but at this point, man, how does Umar beat? The only way to beat Merab is to finish him. That's the reality. You guys know I'm an Umar fan, but it's a steep hill to climb, man. Merab is a different kind of alien. I want to see him move up to featherweight. I know he respects Volkanovski. That doesn't sound like a fight that he wants, out of respect. And yeah, Volk's a tough matchup for him. I think that's part of it as well. But, I mean, what's left for him in this division? The only thing that gets me excited to see Merab fight at bantamweight anymore is to fight Umar Magomedov. Or if Mario Bautista could go out there and beat Umar, that would be wildly impressive. Then he could get a title shot against Merab. He would absolutely have earned it. 100%. 100%. But nothing at bantamweight is really exciting me right now for Merab, man, outside of that rematch. That's it. Unless Bautista does something impressive. Just given the skills that Merab brings to the table, man, I want to see him move up to featherweight and challenge. Right, but he's the champion, so the only way he's going to move up is if it's a title fight. So we basically have to wait for either Volk to lose the belt, which I really don't want to see that. I want to see Volk, kind of go out on top, or him retire and then Merab moves up. So we're looking at Merab kind of sticking around, rematches. The only thing that's appealing at bantamweight right now is really the winner of Umar and Mario Bautista, to be real. It's hard to pick against Merab at this point, man. It just is. I expected domination. Didn't expect him to damn near knock out Cory Sandhagen. That was wildly impressive. Merab said he was going to knock him out. Said he was going to finish Sean O'Malley. When guys start doing things like this and they're improving and they're getting better and better every time out and they're a defending champion, it's a scary thing. And I already said he was the GOAT of bantamweight. I already said he passed Cruz. And now he's just really starting to add to the lead. Now he's starting to, really run up the scoreboard on it. Very impressive stuff, man. And Cory was hanging in there, man. To get hurt bad, recover, land some good shots in the first round, came out, was moving and grooving, but it's just not enough, man. I feel like we all knew that at the end of the day. I feel like we knew that. It would have been cool to see Cory go out there and pull it off because he was being counted out, but at the end of the day, Merab's a different beast. He's an alien. He's an alien, and you could go out there and have that great first round against Merab, even a good round 2. But the problem is Merab will keep the same energy and the same pace the entire fight, if not ramp it up even more, which is nuts. We've never seen a fighter that's really able to do that. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And him working with John Wood, his striking is improving, his game planning. He's not the easiest guy to hit clean, which I don't think Merab gets the credit he deserves for. He's durable, got a granite chin, and he's very hard to hit clean. The only guy that's really been able to hit him really clean was O'Malley with the front kicks, and then Umar with some of the boxing. That's basically it. Outside of that, Merab, he didn't really even take any big shots in this fight. I know Cory landed a big right hand at one point, but Cory doesn't hit that hard. Right? So if O'Malley can't snipe you, I just found it hard to believe that Cory was going to be able to do something like that. So shout out to Merab Dvalishvili, man. While I'm F Merab, man. No, but seriously, amazing performance by Merab Dvalishvili. And people calling it boring, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I thought it was very entertaining. Damn near knocked out Cory. Completely dominated a super well-rounded fighter like Sandhagen. Merab is just now starting to pull away and rack them up, man. A win over Jan, Aldo, 2 over O'Malley, now Sandhagen. I mean, what more do you want from the guy? He's the greatest bantamweight of all time. I would like to see him move up to featherweight at some point. I would like to see him challenge for another belt. I feel like he's earned an opportunity like that. So shout out to Merab, man. Absolutely dominated a very game opponent in Cory. Sandhagen, if he's sticking around at bantamweight, I think that the winner of Umar and Bautista is really the only exciting thing at this point. I know Jan deserves a title shot, but does anybody really want to see that? I don't, man. I'm more intrigued to see Merab move up and fight at featherweight to see if his style can translate, because I think it can. So big win for Merab, very dominant. All right. Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountree Jr. I don't know if I've been more... I don't know what I was going to say, man. I'm just, listen, Jiri Prochazka has to be the most well-liked fighter in the history of the sport. He just has to be. I've never met or seen someone that dislikes Jiri. There's nothing you can say bad about Jiri Prochazka. He shows up. He's respectful. He's an entertaining fighter. He's never in a boring fight, and he is going to go out there and give it his all every single time, and that is exactly what we saw in this fight. It looked like the Rakic fight, but the fact that it went a little bit longer. Rountree was faster. I picked Jiri to win by KO, by the way. And I was worried because of the leg kicks of Rountree. I was worried about the speed. I was worried about Jiri kind of the defense letting him down, getting behind on the scorecards, which is exactly what happened. It could have been 2-0 Rountree, maybe 1-1. Maybe Jiri took round 2. But we saw the tide turn, man, towards the end of round 2. We saw the tide turn, especially in round 3. Jiri came out and he was breaking Khalil, man. He broke him. That's what Jiri does. It's what he did to Rakic. Rakic was beating him up with leg kicks. He was sticking and moving and grooving. And Jiri was like, couldn't even move. And it was like, oh, this is bad. And then there goes Jiri. Comes out in the next round and finishes him. Jiri Prochazka is a different breed, man. And how hard does Poatan hit? Because he's eating some big shots in almost all of his fights, and he doesn't get KO'd. The only guy that's been able to beat him in the UFC basically is Pereira. Absolutely spectacular from Jiri Prochazka, man. I was so happy. You know, he's just a guy I root. How can you not root for him? Super respectful guy, right? Out there getting his master's degree. And hey, leveled up the fight IQ. His fight IQ looked even better. And when I say fight IQ, I'm saying like the defense. He was eating some shots. But while Jiri has his hands down and, you know, people are like, his hands are down. What's he doing? He keeps his chin tucked. He does a great job of keeping his chin tucked. So yeah, he's eating shots, but his chin's not snapping up or around or turning, whatever, you know? I'm super happy for Jiri Prochazka, man. It's just such a good dude, man. Such a good dude. I want to meet Jiri so bad, man. For him to go out there... It's like the guy from Sparta. This is Sparta. I'm coming. Let's go for that. How can you not like Jiri, man? It's a good energy. Love the guy, man. Love the guy. I would love to see him get a title shot, but I don't want to see him get knocked out by Poatan again. I don't want to see that. As fans, we can't let Jiri fight Poatan again. We can't. I know he says he feels like he could beat him. He's not going to beat him. There's too many holes. You can't have holes in the striking against Pereira. That's the reality. It's a bad matchup for him. But Jiri... You know, if Poatan does move up and the belt is available, him versus Olberg for a vacant title, him versus Ankalaev, they haven't fought. Jiri's kind of beaten almost everybody. You know, and I know Jan's older and he lost to Olberg, but I always wanted to see Jiri versus Jan. I mean, I know it doesn't make sense now, but that's always a fight I wanted to see, and it never happened. So, but I feel like Jiri versus Olberg would be a fun fight, man, depending on what happens with Pereira. So, crazy performance by Jiri to be down like that, possibly down 2-0, maybe it was 1-1, and to just will your way to a victory. Move forward, put pressure on Rountree, extend the combinations and get to him and knock him out. I think I said second round knockout, ended up being round 3. I mean, how can you not root for Jiri Prochazka, man? Just an absolute G. Love the guy. I don't even know him, never met him, but I feel like we all love Jiri Prochazka, man. Absolute star, by the way, too. He's an absolute star. Absolute star. And I love that people show out for Jiri Prochazka, man, because he absolutely deserves it. And shout out to Rountree for going toe-to-toe with him. Going in there, throwing down, not shying away from a scrap. Rountree was digging his feet in, was going out there. He was willing to put himself in the line of fire. Very good performance by both guys. Was an absolute banger. Lived up to the hype like a lot of us thought. Fight was crazy. Jiri Prochazka, I mean, what else can you say, man? That's what this guy does. Can be down. There could be 30 seconds left in the fight. He could be losing all 14 minutes, and he goes out there and finds a way to get it done. I'm coming! Way to go, Jiri Prochazka, man. Josh Emmett, Yusuf Zalal. I got a little bit to say here. I'm going to try to rip through these because I know I've been yapping a lot. But listen, I defended Yusuf Zalal after beating Calvin Kattar. I've been one of those people up here praising Yusuf Zalal, saying that this guy is absolutely elite in this weight class. Ever since, getting cut or leaving the UFC, whatever happened there, found his way outside of the UFC, rattles off a bunch of wins, comes back. He's been spectacular. Spocktacular. He's Spock from whatever that movie is. He has been spectacular. To go out there, everyone seems to think that it's going to be a stick and move and groove, footwork and timing and speed performance from Yusuf Zalal. He says, no, watch this. I've been watching some Khamzat Chimaev tape. He goes out there, shoots a perfect double leg, puts Emmett on his ass, gets right to his back. Emmett's like, whoa, I didn't expect to be in this position. Starts to try to transition. Yusuf Zalal puts him in a 50-50 type of scenario where he's like, you want the arm bar, you want the arm triangle. It looked like an arm triangle, started to defend, boom, transitioned to an arm bar. Then we got the verbal tap from Josh Emmett. It was spectacular from Yusuf Zalal, man, to go out there and finish Josh Emmett in the first round by submission. He needed this. He needed this because people were out there clowning on him for the Calvin Kattar performance. He's a runner. He's a track star. This guy's boring. And I told you this guy's super skilled, man. Super skilled. And look, he went out there and lost to Ilia Topuria. People were like, well, he hasn't fought anybody elite. He fought Ilia early in his career in the UFC. Both guys were green in the UFC. Going out there and people now keep the same energy. People were like, Josh Emmett's too much for him. He's fought the better competition. He's been in there with these dogs and this and that. Josh Emmett's a powerhouse. We know how dangerous he is. And Yusuf Zalal was frustrating him with speed, and Emmett, you could tell, was getting frustrated. So what does he do? He tries to move forward and throw that big right hand. Boom. Baited out the aggression, dipped underneath, took him down. Yusuf needed that, man. After that performance against Kattar, which I thought was impressive, a lot of people were clowning on him for it, thought it was boring. To go out there, secure a takedown that easy against a powerhouse like Emmett and speed your way, to a submission victory, beyond impressive stuff by Yusuf Zalal. Shout out to him for getting that one done by sub. I thought he would win a stick and move decision. Great performance, man. Give him a ranked guy next. Him versus Lerone would be fun. I think Lerone should get a title shot, him or Movsar Evloev. But I think Yusuf Zalal has put him in a situation to where he could fight a Yair, Diego Lopez, big name like that. Absolutely, he's deserved it. Nobody does that to Josh Emmett. Wildly impressive. Abus Magomedov versus Joe Pyfer. This fight lived up to the hype, man. I knew that this fight was going to be crazy, and I was saying on the live stream, I'm like, I feel like Joe Pyfer kind of did that intentionally in the first round. Now, I'm not saying he wanted to be dominated on the ground by Abus Magomedov, but I feel like Joe Pyfer, he went right after him, forced the grappling exchanges, and I feel like a lot of that was, okay, we know that Abus is going to get tired. We know he's very, very skilled, and I've said, I think Abus has like a top 10 middleweight skill set, but he's got no gas tank. His striking is good. You saw how good his ground game is because Pyfer's got a good ground game. He dominated Joe in the first round. He did. He absolutely did, but it was the fact that I feel like Joe Pyfer was like, I'm just going to grapple here. Whether I win the exchanges or not, I'm going to make this guy tired because in the second round, he marched him down, wanted no parts of the grappling, marched him down, landed a big right hand around the guard, sat him down, and finished him on the ground with a submission. I thought Pyfer would get a KO in the second round, and it turns out he got a submission. Amazing performance by Joe Pyfer, man. I know that he's driving the salt trucks all through town, man. Wherever it's snowing, call Joe Pyfer because he's got all the salt. But at the end of the day, he's a savage, man. Joe Pyfer is a savage. He's a dog, man. He's not going to quit. He's going to move forward, throw big power shots, and I told you his ground game's underrated. It was looking like that was kind of a bad take because Abus dominated him on the ground, but I feel like that was part of the strategy. Whether you win or lose on the ground against Abus in the first round, just make him work. Make him work. We saw that in the Strickland fight with Abus. We've seen that in pretty much all of his fights. I know he submitted Pereira in the second round, but he doesn't have a great gas tank. He's a super skilled fighter, but the gas tank fails him. It just does. And Pyfer put the pressure on him, forced him to work, and Joe Pyfer is going to win a dogfight over Abus Magomedov. Very impressive stuff by Joe Pyfer. He should be ranked at this point now. I think the UFC will slowly build his way up the middleweight division because as dangerous as Pyfer is, he kind of tends to spam those right hands a little bit too much. I thought he would fight behind the jab a little bit more. And I like the respect that we had between the two fighters. Joe Pyfer, the guys were shaking hands and all that kind of stuff. So I know people, Joe Pyfer can be pretty unlikable, but at the end of the day, the guy's a savage, man. And I tell you guys all the time, I watch this guy fight early in his pro career at Art of War. And I told you the power with this guy is different. He's got a very good ground game. Trains with Sean Brady and those guys. Paul Felder's spoken, about the skills here. Joe Pyfer's for real, man. That's an impressive win because Abus is a very, very game opponent in the middleweight division. Great job by Joe Pyfer. All right, prelims. Adama Gautier I mean, there's really not much to say here, man. Like, it's not like it would have been different if Ozzy Diaz is in there. Like, no matter who the UFC was going to give to Adabagatier on the last-minute replacement, like, we knew it was basically going to be some sort of scrub that was going to be in there, was going to be terrified of Atiba, because I feel like we all would be. This guy is literally the middleweight Ngannou. He just is. And he beat this guy by power aura. Like, it's not even like that he was, because, Vines was kind of being patient, running around pretty much. He's like running around from this guy. Basically was just going to try to run for 15 minutes, I guess. I thought we were going to get a warning from the ref being like, hey, man, we got to get some action going here. Atiba was stalking him down. Vines shot the takedown, hiked up the single leg, and then Atiba just with pure strength just threw him down to the ground. This guy crumbled on the ground, and Atiba just finished him. Couldn't have been any easier. We all knew that this was going to end in the first round. He would have KO'd Ozzy Diaz in the first round. This was about getting Atiba a highlight reel KO or some sort of finish. That's why they put him on the featured prelim of a pay-per-view card. We know this guy's dangerous. He's going to be a problem in the middleweight division. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a ranked opponent next. I know that this guy Vines was thrown in at the last minute, but Atiba's that damn good, man. He is. He's the Ngannou of the middleweight division. He is. He's terrifying. He's big. He's powerful. Right? The only thing I could see if guys are technical and they mix things up and try to take him down and make him work, I feel like that's where we could see Atiba in some trouble, but you got to get there first. You got to get there first, man. His power is different. And he's not just a guy that has raw power. He sets these shots up well. He's very patient. You see him in there just kind of stalking you down, setting these shots up. It's nasty. It's nasty. The guy's a real threat in the middleweight division. Again, not a whole lot to say here because we all knew that this was going to happen. So great win by Gatier. Went in there and did what he needed to do and starched him. Daniel Santos versus Juseng Yu. I picked Santos to win by decision, and he ended up getting a KO. I didn't see that coming. Listen, I was kind of worried because I picked Santos, and I was like, look, Juseng Yu's good. He's a good striker, good countering instincts, good speed. He's confident. But I was like, look, he knocked out Jekka. And Jekka got knocked out by Anshul Jubilee, which was a ground and pound finish. But still, Yu had a good first round, was sticking and moving. But at the end of the day, like I always said about Daniel Santos, this guy's well-rounded. He's game. He's gritty. He's never been finished, I don't think, right? So I know Yu has power, but if you go back and look at the fights that Yu has had, he only has like 4 KOs. He's got some decisions as well. So he's not this one-shot KO artist that a lot of people were making him out to be, right? And then Santos, it was a close first round to a degree. Yu was landing the bigger shots, but then the takedown of Santos, I think Yu probably won the first round, right? And then Santos comes out, and I even tweeted this out. I'm like, I feel like his corner said, look, man, his hands are low. He's getting cocky. Just extend the combinations, and you will get to him. And that's exactly what he did, and he put him down and finished him. Put some respect on the name of Willie Cat Santos, man. He's rattling these wins off, dude. Rattling them off, and he's well-rounded. His defense isn't the best on the feet, but he looked pretty clean, looked sharp. And to have that happen in the first round, secure a takedown, not do much with it, come out in the second round and finish the guy like that, I mean, Juseng Yu will be back, man. He's a fun guy to watch, good striker. I was rooting for the guy to a degree, but I was also rooting for Willie Cat Santos because this guy is not getting the love that he deserves, man. He's gritty, he's a savage, he's well-rounded, and he is always in a fun fight. Very impressive stuff by Daniel Santos, and it sucks to see fun prospects get the hype halted, but Yu will be back, man. It was a little bit too much too soon, in my opinion, was how I kind of looked at this fight. So great performance from Santos, and we still see that Yu got some things to work on. He's definitely dangerous, man, but that defense got a little too cocky. All right, Patchy Mix versus Jakob Wicklach. I thought that, I'm not going to say robbery because it was a close fight, but I did score this for Patchy Mix. I have Patchy Mix winning definitely round 3, and I did have him winning rounds 2. But again, it's not a robbery because it was a close fight, right? Close fights are not robberies. This guy, Jakob Wicklach, right? I thought that this was kind of a dog shit fight. It wasn't super entertaining. Patchy Mix, again, I don't know if it's just the UFC caliber guys, right? I know that Wicklach was making his debut, but Patchy Mix to me looks different than he did in the PFL. Like, how did Patchy Mix beat Magomedov? How did he beat Sergio Pettis? How did he beat James Gallagher? How did he beat these guys, man? Rafian Stotts. Those guys are pretty good fighters. And then he goes in there and, he started to kind of turn it up a little bit against Bautista, but he got destroyed by Bautista, outscored, convincing win from Bautista, got shown levels. This Jakob Wicklach is good on the ground, though, man. The way he was getting his butterfly hooks in and was playing that butterfly guard was nasty, man. He's very, very good, was creating spaces. Jiu-jitsu is very, 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 very good. You could tell that with Wicklach. This kid's good, man. And in your UFC debut where you had the jitters, we saw a little bit of an adrenaline dump, saw him get tired. I feel like that's what that was, and he pushed through. He was landing some good shots on the feet. Patchy's just a moving heavy bag. Doesn't move his head, Doesn't move at all. Throws a little bit of shots out there. Doesn't have a ton of power. He's got some decent knees and elbows, but Jakub Wiklach, to me, landed the more damaging shots on the feet. But it was kind of the control time of Patchy on the ground. Didn't do a whole lot with it. Jakub was the one threatening submissions. So I thought it was close. Again, close fights are not robberies. I thought Patchy won 29-28, but a big split decision victory for Jakub Wiklach in the debut. The kid's impressive, man, because to do that in your debut, again, we see guys in their debut, kind of the adrenaline dump, those kinds of things, big pay-per-view card. He went out there, was fatigued, and fought through it. That was a big win for Jakub Wiklach, man. You got to see how skilled he is on the ground. We got to see some things. But again, dog shit fight. Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Muniz. I had Edmund getting this done. I think I said first round KO. I definitely said KO. I kind of was nervous because of some of the things we were seeing, like Andre Muniz. He has the ground game. We see Shabazian struggle with some of these grapplers. But at the end of the day, Shabazian's in his prime. He's hitting his stride. Muniz is old. He's washed, in my opinion, and he's just awful on the feet. I feel like he's a little underrated on the feet, but he's awful. He just is. And Shabazian's got power, and he's a sniper on the feet. Got up from the ground and landed a nasty shot on him. Was able to get him out of there with, 2 seconds left in the round. Great performance by Edmund Shabazian, man. The kid is super skilled if he can put everything together. It just feels like every fight there's always something with Shabazian. It's his ground game lets him down. His cardio lets him down. And in this fight, he fought well-rounded, looked like a pro in there, weathered a little bit of adversity, and goes out there and gets the KO. Big win for Edmund Shabazian. I think the guy is very skilled, man. That is exactly what I anticipated. Puniele Soriano versus Nikolai Veretennikov. I thought Soriano was going to get a finish in this fight, but he goes out there and wins. Yeah, a dominant decision, but at the same time, I was kind of disappointed. I feel like Soriano should have gotten him out of there, right? And Soriano was disappointed in his performance. He was like, right? And I feel like that's the takeaway here, because Veretennikov is not that good on the ground. He just isn't, right? And Soriano, he got tired, man. He was super tired. Right, and that kind of worries me moving forward because he was a middleweight moving down. You're putting in the extra miles. I feel like your cardio would be all right, and it kind of was failing him in this fight. So they're going to have to figure out what was going on there. Again, a dominant win, but there were some hairy moments on the feet, man. Some hairy moments on the feet. And when the ref stood him up in the final minute, I'm like, oh, no. Right, and then Nikolai just kept jumping guillotine, and I'm like, you're just going to end up on bottom, man. What are you doing? And he was holding on to it while Soriano's in side control. And I'm like, you don't have it. Let go. You got to start looking to create some frames and create space and work back to your feet. So we've seen Nikolai can't grapple. Soriano took the fight to where he had an advantage. Again, I feel like he should have been able to stop him on the ground, though. Soriano, to me, again, a dominant decision win, but I feel like it was kind of a disappointment because he should have been able to get him out of there. But again, a win is a win. Nice little win streak for Soriano. Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos. Shout out to Yana Santos for going out there and getting this one done. Macy Chiasson, I've seen her enough. Get rid of her. Absolutely. Get rid of her. One, did she miss weight? How are you long, rangy, and big for the weight class and you don't know how to throw a jab? You don't know how to throw straight shots. You don't know how to throw good, clean techniques down the middle and utilize your range. Yana Santos is older, man. I know she's good, but Macy should have won this fight. At this point in your career, when you're a top 5 fighter, how are you losing to Yana Santos? Macy Chiasson looked awful. She did. She looked awful in her last fight against, Ketlin Vieira. Comes out here, looked awful again against Yana Santos. Again, Santos was putting the pressure on early, landing some good shots. I don't know how Chiasson thought he won the fight. How she won the fight. She didn't win the fight. She probably won the third round. I had a 2-1 Santos. Round 1 and 2 going Santos' way, I believe, right, if I remember correctly. So shout out to Santos. Put on a good performance. Macy Chiasson looked like absolute dog shit out there. Cut her from the roster. I've seen enough. She sucks. Chris Gutierrez, Farid Basharat. This is kind of how a lot of us, I think, saw this playing out. Basharat is the more well-rounded fighter. Give him a ranked opponent. Farid Basharat's a well-rounded fighter, man. He's very, very skilled. Was able to land some good shots. Hurt Gutierrez with the boxing, the leg kicks, mixing in the grappling. He's a well-rounded fighter, man. And Gutierrez, I said this. He's a leg kick merchant, a feint merchant. Move around, do nothing. Throw feints out there. Spam leg kicks from the outside. Utilize footwork and not let anything go. So why did anyone think he was going to win this fight? Right? That's just who he is. And if you could go out there and you're skilled and mix things up and make him hesitant, you're going to beat him. Farid Basharat's for real, man. Give him a ranked opponent. Guy's super skilled. Show he's got some power in his hands. We know he's a good striker. We know that his ground game is very legit as well. The kid's an absolute stud. He's undefeated for a reason. Give him a ranked opponent, man. Big win for Farid Basharat. Very impressive. Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Vanderford. I was wrong, and I said in my prediction that I knew that I should have changed my pick because I said in the video that I was going to come Sunday do my recap and be like, this fight haunted me because Austin Vanderford won the first round, I thought. Got the takedowns, was not able to pull him off of the fence, and that was the difference. Ramiz Brahimaj got taken down and controlled by Court McGee, taken down and controlled by Themba Gorimbo. So technically on paper, Poatan Anthony Smith, he should lose to a good wrestler in Austin Vanderford who finished Nikolai Veretennikov, who Puliano Soriano didn't finish. And I feel like that was an area where Vanderford was going to be able to shine. Not at all. Ramiz Brahimaj's got a nasty guillotine, landed some good shots on the feet, split him open with that head kick, landed some good boxing. Ramiz Brahimaj's for real, man. We got to stop doubting this guy. Great performance, goes out there, gets a submission, and I love Ramiz Brahimaj, man. The respect. He's a super respectful guy. He's just a savage. Goes out there and puts on, doesn't say a whole lot. Respectful guy, goes out there and handles business. Great job by Ramiz Brahimaj. Happy for the guy. And again, Vanderford will be back. Feel like it was a little bit of a disappointment, right? Should have been a little bit more responsible on the feet. But again, the takedown defense has improved of Brahimaj. And I think he switched camps or whatever. He's been leveling up his game, man. Shout out to Ramiz. That was a great performance. Last but not least, Veronica Hardy dominates Brogdon Walker. We all knew this was going to happen. No one's surprised. I feel like everyone picked Veronica Hardy here. She's got Dan Hardy in her corner. You think that Brogdon Walker, an amateur fighter, was going to come in here and beat a rather seasoned pro in Veronica Hardy? It just wasn't going to happen, man. Shout out to Veronica Hardy, back in the win column. She normally kind of a decision merchant, but she's very technical. Good stinger in her hands, good speed, good footwork, well-rounded fighter, very, very technical. She's well coached. Went out there and put on a great performance. But we all kind of knew, at least I've been saying, Brogdon Walker's not UFC caliber. So good performance by Veronica Walker. Went out there and dominated exactly how she should. I very much enjoyed UFC 320, man. Again, props to Alex Pereira. Prove me wrong. Like I said, I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I love their striking styles. Again, Ankalaev will be back. It's a tough way to lose a fight. He will be back, man. Adversity strikes. That's part of the fight game. And Alex Pereira, spectacular, man. Give him a heavyweight opportunity if that's what he wants. To go out there, put a statement win on a rematch like that, incredibly impressive stuff, man, by Poatan Pereira. Shama. Shout out to Pereira, man. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss an upload. I would appreciate it. See you next time.